Hey everybody, we're going to get started in just a minute. I think we're going to give a couple minutes for some of the stragglers to come in. If you don't see somebody in the participation block, now would be a good time to text them and remind them that we're here, or Rhonda's going to be very upset. This might be the first annual meeting with an open bar, so pour yourself a drink. It's not a bad idea, actually. I should have done that. Too late now. For me, not for you. On a personal note, if you know of any single Jewish women that want to join this meeting, that would be a good time. I'll put the phone number up at the end. That might help. I got to take my shots where I can. Cool, you guys. I think we're going to get started in about 1 minute. So you can mute CNN whenever we get going. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody, all of Jewish Orlando, all of 52 of you. We're very excited to have you here tonight for our annual meeting. We've got a really great program lined up. Tonight, we'll be hearing from the Executive Director of the Jewish Federation, Keith Dvorchik. He'll be talking a little bit about a year in summary. He'll also be recapping some of the community study information. We're also going to be hearing from Ming, current Jewish Federation of Greater Orlando president. My name is Yash. I'm one of the at-large board members. We've also got a really great slate of award winners. Tonight, we'll be hearing from the Jerome J Bornstein Leadership Award winners, as well as the Byron v. Selber Young Leadership Award winners, and the Jewish Communal Professional Award, as well as the Heritage Florida Jewish News Human Service Award winners. So we've got a jam-packed presentation for you. It's going to be about an hour. So we're going to go ahead and get started by actually first informing you that this meeting is being recorded, which I promised Julie that I would. And secondly, by asking for an approval of our annual meeting minutes from last year's meeting. You should have received an email earlier today with those meeting minutes in it. If you did not, you can also check it out at the Jewish Federation website. They are all posted on there. Right now, I would like to ask somebody to please make a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Ed Bromberg, so moved.
Hi, Ed. Perfect. Do I have a second?
Danielle Krise, second.
Thank you, Danielle. Are there any amendments or changes or modifications to those minutes that anybody has? Okay, hearing none. Julie is actually going to be opening up a poll. It should be popping up on your screen momentarily. When you see that poll, please indicate how you'd like to vote, and we'll just wait a second here to get our results. Great, we have a unanimous approval of the minutes. Thank you all for taking care of that. And now I'd like to please invite Brad to unmute himself as he gives our nominating committee report, our immediate past president, Brad Jacobs.
To be quite honest with you, I was not on the agenda for this. I don't have a script for this.
Cool. I think Rhonda
is the.
Yeah, I've got it. I sent it to you, Brad, but I could do it. It is now my honor to present the Board of Director and Officer nominations for the 2021-22 term. First, on behalf of the Federation, I want to thank all of our board members for all you have done for the Federation and for our community. Your leadership and commitment are greatly appreciated. This year, we are nominating board members and officers who, along with our current board members, will lead us into the 2021-2022 term and beyond. The at-large board members for your consideration are shown on your screen. I guess they're not going to be on the screen. I'll read them. Yash Bendayan, Matthew Brofman, Edward. Okay, that's the executive committee, which I will get to. Edward Bromberg, Debbie Genzier, Seth Hyman, Lee Norber, Rachel Slavkin. There we go. Michael Soll, Barbara Weinrich, Edward Zisman, and Orly Diamond. We are nominating 6 agency representatives for the new term. They are Scott Miller for the Holocaust Center, Hank Katzen for Central Florida Hillel, Mark Katzen for the Jewish Academy of Orlando, Jeannie Scher for the Jewish Pavilion, and Jacob Hara for Kinneret Council on Aging, and Sarah Stern for Jewish Family Services. And finally, we are nominating the following individuals for our board leadership team. President Ming Marx, Vice President Danielle Krise, Secretary me, Rhonda Forrest, Treasurer Diane Jacobs, and immediate past President Brad Jacobs. I hereby present to you the officers and board members for election today. May I have a motion to approve the nominees for the Board of Directors and Officers for the 2021-2022 term as presented? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, Seth Hyman.
Thank you, Seth. Do we have a second?
We second.
Okay, we is who?
The Slavkin family.
Okay, thank you, Slavkin family. We are going to vote for these nominees, and I want to remind you that only Federation members, as defined in our bylaws, may vote. Please vote. Can you put the poll up, please? Julie, are we set?
Yes, it was unanimous.
Okay, excellent. The motion has been approved. I now install you as duly elected officers and members of the Board of the Jewish Federation of Greater Orlando. You have all been selected to represent our Jewish community as members of its Board of Directors and as officers. You have accepted the responsibility of participating in and ensuring the success of the deliberations, decisions, and activities of the Jewish Federation. May you all go from strength to strength as you continue your work on behalf of the Orlando Jewish community. Mazel tov, and thank you.
Cool, and now everybody should have their popcorn ready because we're gonna be hearing from our illustrious Executive Director, Keith Dvorchik.
Thanks, Yash, and thanks everyone for being here. It really has been an incredible year. It was dominated by COVID, and the challenges that we faced as a community were significant. The Federation has stepped to the front and helped the community navigate these challenges. Our Security Director, Jake Silverman, has been the lead professional in communicating with the CDC and both the Florida and Orange County Departments of Health. Our campus standards, shared with the community at large, meet or exceed all of their requirements, helping to ensure that we remain safe as possible during this pandemic. Now, on your screen, in just a minute, you're going to see the pie chart of the financial impact of the Federation through the end of July 2021. Through 11 months of this year, Julie, can you get that up there? Through 11 months of this year, you'll see that our restricted, unrestricted sponsorship and program income totaled $1,043,784, and our community impact funding was a total of $836,107, meaning that over 80% of all funds raised had a direct impact on our community. In addition, our investment in the operation of TOP, Orlando's Jewish Community Foundation, provided $16,465 of this impact to our community. On top of all that, another $141,516 was added to our campus capital reserve this year. And our goal next year is to be able to increase the amount of funding used to impact our community in the upcoming year, and we can only do so with your generous support. During this last year, we had many successes. And as I begin to review what the Federation's accomplished, I really was overwhelmed by our impact. This impact included our Human Service Matching Grant. As part of this challenge grant, the Federation allocated more than $95,000 to community agencies dealing with human services that were impacted by COVID. These included JFS, Central Florida Hillel, the Jewish Pavilion, Connecticut Council on Aging, and both the Rosen and Roth family JCCs. One of the highlights of this grant was providing Central Florida Hillel with the funds they needed to build out a counseling space in their facility and providing JFS with the startup scholarship funding for those students who had issues with insurance copays or had no insurance so that they can obtain these counseling services through this innovative partnership between Central Florida Hillel and JFS. Another thing we really focused on this year was creating innovative holiday programming in a year when holidays were celebrated very differently due to COVID. Holiday programming throughout the year included things like the Sound the Shofar program, which provided 200 shofars to people who wanted them so they could hear the shofar blown in person. Classes on how to blow the shofar were offered virtually and put online. And right now, if you want a shofar for this upcoming year, you can go to our website and register to receive one. We distributed 100 PJ Library and Family Engagement High Holiday Kits so that families with young children could have creative and interesting ways to celebrate the holiday. We held a SUKKOT story walk outside of campus, providing a way for families with young children to engage with SUKKOT in a COVID-safe environment. Hanukkah programming included a virtual celebration of the 8 nights of Hanukkah with 8 different agencies taking the lead. This provided the Orlando Jewish community a way to celebrate each night with different agencies and groups of people. We distributed 115 Hanukkah kits to families with young children at both the Rosen and Roth family JCCs, providing creative and interesting ways for families to celebrate Hanukkah. We held the PURIM at the PHILHARMONIC for children and families through our PJ Library and Family Engagement programming. More than 100 people attended this COVID-safe outdoor event. We created the Passover Playbook, an online guide to Passover traditions, including recipes, families sharing their own special traditions, access to online Haggadot, and much more. We held Passover Madness, a fun way to engage with Passover foods to select the winning food for the holiday. And of course, we had our Women's Seder virtually, creating a way for women to join together in celebrating Passover. All funds raised for the Women's Seder went to benefit both JFS and Kinneret. And we did Shavuot into the night once again, providing an evening of learning during this holiday. Included with learning were recipes being shared so that people could prepare their own special dairy foods for Shavuot. Our family engagement programming grew as we provided monthly PJ Library books to almost 1,500 children. In addition, 225 PJ Our Way books to older children. We held monthly family engagement programming, including expansion beyond the Maitland Winter Park area, with programming for families and for PJ moms that will continue in the upcoming year. We continued our Israel and Overseas program and investment, which included funding 2 critical programs in our sister city of Kiryat Motzkin, focusing on Holocaust survivors and at-risk youth. We provide scholarship funding for teens going on peer trips to Israel through our Coleman Israel Scholarship Fund. We worked with the Israel-American Council on 2 rallies at Lake Eola to support Israel during the war with Hamas in May. We worked with the city of Orlando and the IAC to have Lake Eola turn blue for Israel Independence Day. And we provided parents of high school children and the children themselves information about how to deal with both anti-Semitism and anti-Israel activity on college campuses. We also provided community support in a variety of ways. This included RAISE, our incredible work, social skills, and job training program for adults with special needs. They went virtual this year and created Raise Your Skills, an online program when they couldn't meet in person, delivering virtual work and social skills training for adults with special needs, along with one-to-one job coaching support. This innovative curriculum helped advance the skills of the participants, many of whom were able to secure employment in our community following their participation. In addition, RAISE received 2 badges of achievement in 2021. This included being one of the first top-rated great nonprofits for 2021 and being recognized by GuideStar at the platinum level for inclusion, transparency, and excellence. And Raise Your Voice, a monthly support group to our current parents and alumni, continued virtually. During this time when mental health issues were on the rise, participants were extremely grateful for this level of support provided at no cost to them. We continue helping to fund the community rabbi program at JFS, making sure everybody has access to clergy. We had our Food Cart from the Heart program, which provides perishable food items, such as fresh fruits and vegetables, meat and dairy items, to those in need. Our Bornstein Leadership Development Program trained 15 new leaders who are taking active leadership roles in our community. We're excited about the impact these graduates are already having and the impact future classes will have on our community. Getting Bolder, a 50-plus women's group, met monthly to focus on being bolder, not older. We worked with other federations along the I-4 corridor and along I-75 to create a large online event with both the governor and other Florida leaders speaking out against anti-Semitism. When vaccination appointments were hard to get, we provided vaccination appointments through our relationship with the American Muslim Community Center in Longwood. We served as one of the lead organizations in creating Beirut, a Jewish group to address substance abuse and the opioid crisis. 3 events were held during the year, with more to come in the upcoming year as we address this ongoing crisis as a community. Mental health programming and partnerships included our Soul Care Month and online programs with a psychologist to address the challenges created by COVID. We created a Jewish singles group for Jewish members of our community in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. We continued our annual Pride Shabbat in partnership with the city of Orlando and local synagogues to celebrate our diversity and inclusion. We've created a community service initiative highlighted by, in partnership with CC's Wish List, providing new clothes to those in need. Partnering with Enchanted Backpack, which provides nearly $50,000 in school supplies to eligible schools. The first one was Columbia Elementary in Orange County, and we're working to bring the program to other eligible Orange and Seminole County schools. And we've partnered with the TLC program from B'nai Torah in Boca to bring the Little Free Pantry program to Orlando. We currently have 2 pantries operating, one at Temple Israel and the other at Central Florida Hillel on the UCF campus. We have 9 more pantries we're working to find both locations and committees to ensure they're constantly filled with non-perishable goods. And we provide support and organization of the Synagogue Men's Club event, Men's Night Out. All funds raised at this event go to benefit the men's clubs. The 2021 Orlando Jewish Community Study has been funded and stewarded by the Federation. You'll hear more about this a little bit later with a big community presentation by the Cohen Center for Modern Jewish Studies at Brandeis University here in Orlando in either late November or early December. And of course, community security is a critical service. We provide security consultation and oversight for the community, connections to local, state, and federal law enforcement, assistance with the Department of Homeland Security grants. And once again in Orlando, only 1 security grant was awarded to the whole city of Orlando, and it was to the Jewish Federation to improve security on this campus. And we have relationships with local and national legislators. We co-authored an op-ed in the Orlando Sentinel with Representative Stephanie Murphy about the growth in anti-Semitism. I hope you appreciate just how much your federation has accomplished this past year. We only do this through your support, so thank you for allowing us to have such a powerful impact on our community. If you haven't yet contributed or are inspired to give a little bit more, please go to our website, send in a check, or give me a call. We're really excited about everything that's coming up in the next year, and I want to turn it over to our Board President, Ming Marx, to tell you more about that.
Thanks, Keith. Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to our new members and newly re-elected board members. I'd also like to thank our staff, Keith, Carol, Jake, and Marissa, for the really hard work they put in through truly challenging circumstances. As Keith touched on, we recently received and reviewed the first draft of the community study. For those of you who may not know, our last community study was performed in 1993, so that's 27 years ago. We believe that this newer information will give us more relevant information upon which to plan strategic action in the upcoming year. Based upon the preliminary data, the Community Study Committee identified a number of items for the Cohen Center to review in order to provide us with comparisons with national trends. A focus of that inquiry was on the expanding Southeast Orlando, Lake Nona area, as well as other areas, so we can identify actionable community areas of need. While Keith is going to discuss the highlights of the data that we received so far at the end of the meeting, the Cohen Center will be coming to Orlando at the end of the year on 2 occasions, one on the north side and one on the south side of Orlando, to meet with community leaders and to present its findings. Additionally, our organizations will be provided with opportunities to meet with these representatives to obtain further information about what the data means for the organizations as well as their stakeholders. COVID and the Delta variant continue to pose operational challenges for our community, particularly in terms of connectivity for those who are most at risk. With that in mind, we intend to provide what we believe to be a sustainable blend of virtual and in-person events. For the upcoming year, we will likely need to readjust, but our plan is to continue to grow our successful family engagement programming to include our PJ Families programming that's had successful partnerships with the Florida Orchestra, as well as our PJ Popsicles in the Park event. We will continue to provide more programming in the safe manner for our Women Together and Empowering Connections programs that have been designed by women for women. Additionally, 14 women and 13 men from our community are still planning on visiting Israel with our partnership with the Momentum program. Many prior participants in the program have become strong or even stronger leaders in our community. Additionally, with the creation of our Israel and Overseas Committee, we will continue to strengthen our connection to Jews in Israel as well as abroad. As he has over the past few years, Jake Silverman, our Director of Security, continues to provide impact services for our Central Florida community. In addition to becoming the go-to professional for the Jewish community in terms of interfacing with state and local officials regarding COVID best practices, Jake, with his law enforcement contacts, has been able to give us advance notice of several anti-Semitic events, as well as strategic recommendations to us and our partners as how best to address them. Jake will continue to provide oversight and recommendations to our organizations and synagogues. Additionally, he has and will continue to assist with federal and state grant opportunities as they become available for our community partners. JCRC continues its mission to advocate for our community, particularly in these tumultuous times. Community members have met with local as well as state representatives to advocate as well as to educate them on the dangers of anti-Semitism and the BDS movement. Tikkun Olam also remains ever present in our minds. Our Food Cart from the Heart program continues to purchase and deliver groceries to those who lack the ability to do those for themselves. We intend on expanding this program as well as other programs that Keith had mentioned before in order to support those in need. And much thanks to Temple Israel, as well as to Hillel for their willingness to house the first 2 little pantries from the Little Free Pantry program. Year over year, RAISE continues to grow and exceed expectations. This federation program provides work and social skills training programs for adults with special needs. And while COVID temporarily impacted its programming, Lauren London and Rachel Slavkin used that time wisely to strategically plan ahead. And as a result, RAISE is proud to announce the expansion of its mission of Tikkun Olam as we build RAISE on the road, which will replicate our local RAISE program in other communities. RAISE looks forward to selecting and launching its first pilot site in Florida soon, and hopes you will be ambassadors for this innovative inclusionary program with a history and track record of success. Additionally, we are excited to announce that Congregation Ohev Shalom has agreed to participate as the newest of RAISE's 8 community worksite partners. In addition to Ohev, our RAISE employees will have the opportunity in the next year, Hillel, Jewish Academy, the JCC Preschool, Kinneret, Jewish Family Services, the JCC, as well as for the Federation. Keith mentioned the funds that we were able to provide, both through our annual campaign, as well as through our Human Services matching grant. Many thanks to you, our generous donors who provided us with this financial support. We are looking at opportunities to offer a similar program this year in order to continue to support our community. Finally, congratulations to Bruce Gould, Michael and Stacey Soll, Aaron and Sharon Weil, and Danielle Krise. The work you've done for our community is outstanding and inspirational to us all.
Excelente. Thank you so much, Ming. Appreciate that. And now we're going to get into the awards portion of our presentation. I'd like to remind you guys that at the bottom of your screen, there's a chat box, and you can use that chat box to send your congratulations to our award winners. You can comment on wardrobe choices, or if you're like me, you can comment on how adorable our next presenter is. I'd like to welcome longtime Federation board member, Ryan Lefkowitz.
Thanks, Yash. Be hard to top an introduction of that sort, but glad I could serve as an adorable counterpart here. I want to first start by saying it's a true honor for me to introduce this year's recipients of the Jerome J Bornstein Leadership Award, Michael and Stacey Soll. I would be hard-pressed to find a couple in this community that have collectively dedicated as much time and sweat to improving our world and inspiring others to conduct the mitzvot of Tikkun Olam. Michael and Stacey arrived in our community nearly 15 years ago as a result of a job relocation. Having both been raised in families heavily integrated into their respective native Jewish communities of New Orleans and Atlanta, they immediately sought out the offerings of our Jewish community to get acclimated to their new home. Not long thereafter, their 3 young children, Aaron, David, and Jules, were enrolled in the ECLC and JAO. The schools, their staffs, and other attending families welcomed the Soll family into the close-knit Orlando Jewish community. And we demonstrated a warmth that made their transition much easier. In fact, these early experiences were so appreciated by Michael and Stacey that when a new work opportunity and the possibility of another relocation arose, they both opted to pass and stay put, citing the warm and strong ties that have been created here. This community has been a great beneficiary of that decision. Michael and Stacey's leadership involvement began with the Federation's Young Adult Division, at the time known as Or Hadash, where they created social ties and a network of friends, many of whom are still close acquaintances of theirs today. Stacey became an active parent and leader among the ECLC and JAO, serving as a president of the JAO's Parent Association and then joining as an active board member. As the children have grown, her involvement as an active parent has continued well beyond the Jewish community, where she now runs a food and clothing pantry for Winter Park High School, a service that has clothed and fed literally hundreds of underprivileged students during what is right now a very difficult and challenging time. It's hard to understate an impact of that magnitude, but clearly it'll tell you a lot about Stacey. She's driven by a deep passion to help improve the lives of others. During Michael's involvement in Orthodox, he parlayed his programming and organizational experience for the organizational experience to ensure our demographic at that time was adequately positioned going forward. Having come to Orlando with experience on several boards in prior communities, Michael's knowledge and insight were soon tapped by the JAO board before he found his passion in seeking to help Orlando's Jewish community to preserve and maintain what he valued most, its sense of community. He has worked tirelessly as a representative of JFGO and with lay leadership from all over this community to improve communication and connectivity, all with the goal of strengthening its core for the future. And finally, on a personal note, I'd be remiss not to mention an accomplishment of Stacey's that is near and dear to my heart. That's the goal of getting every community member to Israel. In early 2015, Stacey was instrumental in locally introducing Momentum, an international organization that takes thousands of Jewish mothers to Israel for a transformative 10-day mission. Stacey's efforts resulted in the creation of a joint venture between Join Orlando and the Jewish Federation of Greater Orlando to ensure that women from our community could access this great, incredible opportunity. She was a member of the first Orlando contingent in the fall of 2015 and was so inspired by the impacts of that experience that upon her return, she and her fellow attendees helped launch SPARK, a peer-led Jewish women's outreach organization that provides women in our community a platform to engage, learn, laugh, and continue to strengthen their connection with Judaism. I could go back to Michael as well. And frankly, with this couple, I could go on a lot longer, but you know, Yash, despite the fact that he liked looking at me, didn't want me to go on for more than 3 minutes. So I'm just going to conclude with a simple mazel tov to Michael and Stacey, recipients of Federation's 2021 Jerome J Bornstein Leadership Award. They are truly exceptionally deserving of this award. Thank you. I wasn't sure if my clap was muted or not. I'm sorry.
Thank you. No, we actually have the award in advance, which is actually beautifully engraved heart. Thank you, Rhonda, I think, for picking that out. So just a quick thank you. Stacey gives our mitzvah speeches because they're quite emotional. I think I can pull this one off even without being too long-winded. But it is an honor to receive this award after seeing so many deserving recipients over the years, presenting so many of these awards, and hopefully living up to the standard of the Bornstein family, which is not easy. And there's no one more fitting to present this than Ryan. Ryan co-chaired with me to ease the initial launch into chairing the Board of Federation. And of course, we couldn't have done it without each other. Also, it's an honor to be amongst tonight's other recipients, the Wiles, Danielle, and the to be named, who now has been named. Bruce, are all friends and have contributed so much to our community. And, you know, Stacey and I have been very fortunate. Our parents were great role models, and our families have been great in their communities and synagogues. We've received excellent mentorship from this community for the last 15 years, including for many of you who are tuned in right now. We really just want to say tonight how thankful we are for the opportunities the community has afforded us, Federation has afforded us, and for our children, Aaron, David, and Jules. When you arrive to a new city with kids in tow, and you can walk right into the Jewish community, no questions asked, it is hard to take it for granted. So that's why we've stayed here and remained involved. So we thank you for your inspiration and look forward to seeing with you all what this community can become for our children and yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's so much beautiful hair happening in this frame. Can't even. Thank you guys very much. And now we are going to move on to the Brian B. Selber Young Leadership Award. And I would like to welcome Bornstein co-chair and graduate, Abby Nelson.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, it is an absolute honor and pleasure to be able to introduce my dear friend. She is an inspiration to me. So I feel like, you know, like the roles are almost reversed in many situations. I have had just the pleasure of really getting to know her over the past, gosh, since 2013. Our daughters are best friends and are continuing to grow up together, and I feel we're continuing to share our journey as well. So just a little bit about the Brian Selber Award. It was started off as JFGO's Young Leadership Award in 1974. And Brian Selber was the first recipient of it. He had cared deeply about all things Jewish and convinced people that they needed to join him. He was just an inspiration and a leader. And whenever he asked, you said yes. Many others that we are following suit have that same sentiment. And in 1987, the award was changed to honor his memory and young leaders who reflect his commitment. So Danielle, just with such humbleness and gratitude, receives this award. She graduated from the Bornstein program in 2014, and she deferred her board involvement because she was a Rotary Club president of Orlando. And that's also one of the, interesting enough, that's how I really started to get to know her, was I was also in that with her. And then I followed her as she continued with her journey into the JFGO, in 2015, she joined the JFGO board and served as co-chair of the campaign. In 2016, once again, I had the pleasure of going with her on the JWRP Momentum trip and just continuing our journey into this wonderful relationship. In 2017, she had pledged at pomegranate level and also is a well-known annual choice sponsor and a member of the event planning committee. She also serves on the executive committee for the JFGO and has been a past treasurer. She's a trustee on the Top Jewish Foundation board and also serving on the investment committee. She has served as chair on the Top Strategic Planning Committee, and she was named as the Raymond James Top 40 Advisor Under 40 in 2018. She's also a Raymond James Leaders Club. So many big steps to follow, and it's just my great pleasure to introduce and congratulate Danielle.
Thank you, Abby, for those kind words and for the community's recognition of this award. As I had another birthday last month, I'm grateful I still qualify for the young portion of the award. Thanks, Rhonda, for getting me in before I no longer qualified. But seriously, receiving awards and recognition is not what drives me to work hard to make our Jewish community the best it can be. It actually makes me pretty uncomfortable. I do thank Rhonda for encouraging me to accept and for her mentorship these last several years. Becoming a mom really made me realize how important it is that our kids have a connection to their Jewish identity through the community that creates friendships. I believe federation is the cog of this wheel that moves all of our Jewish community, connecting us to one another. When I told my daughter Hannah she would have an extra iPad time tonight since I had a meeting, and then she saw this beautiful award, she asked, "Is that the award for being the best mom ever?" Well, that's all the recognition I need tonight. I'm grateful for my loving family, my husband Mike, kids Hank and Hannah, and my awesome mom Arlene, who taught me from an early age to help and volunteer with her example. I'm honored and very humbled to accept the Byron B. Selber Young Leadership Award. I'd like to take a final moment to recognize the namesake of this award as the father of a friend of mine and fellow Momentum sister, Marnie Chepnick. I hope I live up to his legacy of dedicating his time and energy to the betterment of our Jewish community, so it can be one my grandchildren and children can enjoy just as his children and grandchildren are. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Danielle. And as also a member of that Bornstein class in 2014 with you, I gotta say, you definitely take the valedictorian post from that year. So congratulations for sure. And now we're going to move on to the Jewish Communal Professional Award. And please welcome Rob Gabady. Rob, you're muted, sir.
You got me now?
Yes.
All right, sorry, I thought it was gonna be auto saved there. Okay, it is my honor to present the Jewish Communal Professional Award. This award honors individuals who go beyond just getting the job done. Honorees promote inter-community or intra-community harmony, advocate beyond reasonable expectations for charitable causes, or have organized and implemented creative community relations, educational programs in our area. Our 2021 honorees are Sharon and Aaron Weil, and their work in our community exemplifies the best attributes of this award. Sharon and Aaron joined us in Central Florida from Pittsburgh only 8 years ago, if you can believe that. But they immediately immersed themselves in our community and have been an integral part of so many of our community's successes. Sharon, of course, is the Executive Director of Nonprofit Operations at Kinneret Council on Aging and has been with Kinneret since 2017. She has a deep passion for aiding seniors in Central Florida, and through the years, she's led the way successfully with compassion, caring, and resilience by connecting with the over 300 elderly residents living at Kinneret Apartments. She's run numerous programs to ensure their well-being, including the food pantry, holiday meal distribution, health fairs, all while raising funds through the very successful 8 over 80 event each year. Throughout COVID crisis, she's made sure that the residents are safe and receiving the care and services they need. Aaron is the immediate past executive director and CEO of Central Florida Hillel, a position that he held for 8 years. And prior to that, Aaron spent the prior 10 years as the executive director and CEO of the Hillel Jewish University Center of Pittsburgh. Aaron is a leading voice on Israel in our community and nationally, and led Central Florida Hillel through its transformational move into its new facility in 2015, where it's since achieved exponential growth. And during Aaron's tenure with Hillel, he received several awards, including twice being the recipient of AIPAC's Ally of the Year Award. In June 2021, Aaron stepped down at the end of an 18-year career with Hillel to begin a long overdue sabbatical. Sharon is currently joining Aaron on the sabbatical in the lead up to their eventual return and relocation to Israel. We'll miss them so much in our community, but they are leaving to join their children and their family. Sharon will be staying on with Kinneret by working remotely from Israel. Mazel tov to you both on receiving the Jewish Communal Professional Award.
Hey everyone.
Good evening from Iceland.
We're so honored to be receiving this award, being part of the Orlando Jewish community. Both college-age students and the older adult community has been so rewarding. We both have a real passion for seniors.
Well, and freshmen, sophomores, and juniors in my case. But both of us have been really, really excited to be a part of the Orlando community. And receiving this award is really just kind of, it caps off, at least for me, the opportunity that I've had in the last 8 years to be a part of the growth of Central Florida's Jewish community. And it's really exciting to see all the change at all the community level, from the agency directors, from the lay leadership, from the work that the Federation's doing. It's just an opportunity that, like, for us, it's been a real gift to be able to see not only the changes that we were able to be a part of, but we're really both excited about the changes to come. And we're just very grateful for this opportunity to be recognized tonight. And we salute everyone who has been a part of the program. And we're really excited to see good things to come in the Orlando Jewish community.
And of course, I'm really excited for the opportunity to continue to work with the Kinneret organization and the community as a whole. We wish we could join you from Zoom, but as we said,
yeah, sabbatical in Ireland, starting on our way to moving Iceland. What did I say? Ireland? Well, we may get to Ireland, but right now it's Iceland. And then we're heading to Israel to join our kids. But in the meantime, we'll always keep the city beautiful and its Jewish community in our hearts. So thank you guys.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you guys very much for submitting that. And we appreciate it. We have one more award tonight. It's the Heritage Florida Jewish News Human Service Award. And I would like to welcome Federation past president and current secretary, Ron DeForest.
Thanks, Yash. I have the absolute honor to give this year's Heritage Human Service Award to Bruce Gould. When a cause touches him deeply, Bruce not only follows it with his philanthropic accomplishments, but his heart as well. He gets involved from the beginning and participates until his and the organization's goals are met. From his family's support of nursing homes, of nursing schools throughout Central Florida, to the world-renowned book award at Touro College, to the Holocaust Memorial Resource and Education Center, to the Miami Chamber of Commerce, and Israel. Bruce embraces their visions and makes them his own. Bruce, there is no one more deserving than you. Love you, dear friend. I give you this award.
Well, thank you, Rhonda, and I want to thank the Heritage Jewish News for this tremendous honor. And I first want to congratulate all my fellow honorees. I've known you all for a very long time, and all of you are such deserving, great community leaders, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be put in the same award ceremony with all of you, and I congratulate you wholeheartedly. As part of my remarks, I was asked to explain how I got involved in the Jewish community and what formed my dedication to Tikkun Olam, as it is said, to heal the world. When I was growing up, I lived in a very secular yet traditional home. My first real exposure to Judaism, other than Shabbos dinner, was the Samuel Field Y in Queens, New York. The YMHA left such a lasting impression on my early life that when I moved to Orlando in the early 90s, the first place I looked for friendship and Jewish purpose was the JCC. I quickly got involved in the networking group and on the board of directors and made some lifelong friends, including my good friend Rhonda Forrest. This began the formation of why I do what I do for this community, the education world, Jewish education, and Israel. My first trip to Israel was in 1996, and it was such an eye-opener. I fell in love with a country and its people. Something deep within my soul made me realize that I can make a difference, no matter how small it is. I understood the importance of Jewish education and the utmost mission. Jews everywhere in the world have to have a home to go when there's no place else to go. It has formed my philanthropic philosophy for over 30 years. Jewish education, ensuring the eternal land of Eretz Israel, a place for all Jews to go and live for generations to come. And finally, using lessons of the Holocaust as a teaching tool to eradicate bigotry, hatred, and anti-Semitism forever. You know, we live in a very troubled world today. Bigotry, hatred, and anti-Semitism has crept back into our everyday lives. I'm not sure it's really ever left us. I hope everyone can understand the importance of this very real threat to the existence of the Jewish people. That is why I do the work that I do and the contributions I make to educate, to stand up, and make sure the Jewish people always have a safe and peaceful home. I want to thank my family and my friends for always standing behind me and behind all my endeavors and what I do. And finally, I want to thank my great friend, Rhonda Forrest, for nominating me for this beautiful honor. Rhonda, what can I say? You're the best. I cherish your friendship and I love you. Congratulations again to everybody for this well-deserved honors. And thank you for all of you for attending tonight.
I want to reiterate what Bruce just said to all of our honorees. You know, you're shining examples of what makes Orlando such a special Jewish community. So thank you all for everything that you've done and for allowing us to honor you this evening. But one of the things that I truly believe is that it's critical for a community to have real data when we're going to discuss our future and begin doing community planning. And in light of this, the Federation undertook a massive effort to both raise the funds needed, contract, plan, and review the 2021 Orlando Jewish Community Study. We contracted with the Cohen Center for Modern Jewish Studies at Brandeis University, who are the leaders in this area of research. And this study will be presented in full to our community, likely in very early December, so that we can all understand the impact on the larger community. And then agencies and synagogues will have the opportunity to meet individually in order to understand what it specifically means for them. So I'm not going to go through the entire study tonight. That's what we have the Cohen Center to do. But I did just want to highlight some really significant and important areas to begin the thought process in advance of their presentation. This is really just a little teaser and a taste to prepare you for their detailed presentation later this year. So first of all, our Jewish community here in Orlando is much larger than we expected or that we thought. There are nearly 70,000 adults and children, including more than 51,000 Jews, living in more than 25,000 Jewish households. There are nearly 10,000 Jewish children in Orlando. Huge numbers. Everybody talks about Orlando being a transient community, and the data actually shows that we're not as transient as we think. There are people who've been here for a long time, and people who put down roots, and people who plan to stay here. The largest concentration of Jewish population in Orlando, more than a third of our community, lives in the southwest area. The Maitland Winter Park area is about a quarter, and then Longwood and Lake Mary is next, and the UCF East Orlando area is growing, but trails the rest of the different areas. Nearly 40% of our population does not identify with any denomination of Judaism, and close to a third identify as Reform, with nearly a quarter as conservative. Orlando's intermarriage rate is very similar to the national rate. We're not an outlier there. We're not any different than the rest of the country. One of the things the Cohen Center did is they took a look at how Jews in Orlando connect Jewishly. And one of the things that they found is that approximately 60% of our community connects through personal or familial patterns of behavior. Both of those are highlighted with low communal engagement. And this actually highlights a great opportunity for us as a community to find ways for them to connect, because they're connecting Jewishly just in ways outside of the larger Jewish communal entities. When we talk about our intermarried families, there are many of them who've not yet chosen how they want to raise their children. And this also gives us a great opportunity to help connect with them and help them decide that raising their children and raising their families Jewish is something that's important. There's greater economic need than we anticipated. Some of this is a result of the pandemic because our data was collected during it, but there still is significant financial concerns and financial needs in our community. Financial barriers are a significant obstacle to participate in our Jewish community. And it appears that many in our community are not aware of the financial assistance that's offered by our synagogues and our agencies. And so they think that there are no options, there are no ways to get involved if they can't afford it. So they're choosing not to, rather than take advantage of the opportunity for financial support. When Bruce talked about that connection to Israel, in Orlando, half of our Jewish adults have been to Israel at least once. Half. Think about how significant that is. And nearly 90% of adults, of Jewish adults in Orlando, feel at least a little connected to Israel. And 40% are very much connected. Very significant and important numbers when we think about how we're going to connect with people. Nearly a quarter of the households in our community include at least one person who's limited by health issues, special needs, or disability. So when we begin our community planning and thinking about what our next steps are, this is another area of opportunity for us as a community. Nearly 3/4 of our community do not feel connected at all or just a little bit connected to our local Jewish community. Yet more than half of the community does feel somewhat or very connected to the global Jewish community. So this data does help explain some of our challenges, but it also gives us great opportunities because again, we're not seeing a community that doesn't want to be Jewish. We just have not found the right way for them to connect. And the majority of Jewish adults in Central Florida do celebrate Jewish holidays and observe Jewish rituals. Even with the low connection rate to the local community, they still are involved Jewishly. And this really is a great opportunity for us as a community. While our community does have a lot of challenges, we have a lot of opportunities. The full study is going to have much more detail and lots of numbers. And this is the community's study. So the Federation has put it together and has done the work to present it, but the data belongs to you as the community. It belongs to all of the agencies, the synagogue, the organizations, and the members of our community. When they come to do their presentation, the Cohen Center will be making recommendations for us as a community and discussing in detail both the numbers and the story that they tell for all of us together and for each agency or synagogue who wants to meet with them. This is a truly significant moment in our communal history as we work together to address those needs and opportunities in front of us. It's something that we as a community are going to have to work together to address. No individual organization, agency, or synagogue can do it on their own. We have to do this together. This is truly a time when together we can grow and flourish. I'm honored to have been a part of the process that's providing this information and pathway to the entire community. And I want to thank the committee who has done tireless work to get this study put together. So please make sure to watch for dates of the presentation by the Cohen Center and plan to attend and to participate. It's a great opportunity to read the study in advance and to ask lots and lots of questions of them. That's what they're here to do, is help us answer the questions and find our pathway forward to a bigger, better, and more inclusive and engaging Jewish community here in Orlando. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our host, Yash, and let him close things up for us.
Absolutely, Keith. Thank you very much for that presentation. I got to say, in the first time of any Jewish event ever, I think Jews spoke less than we anticipated. So we're ending a little bit early. Congratulations to everybody for that. I want to give one more congratulations to our award winners tonight, the Solls, the Wiles, Danielle, and Bruce. Congratulations from a humbled Jewish community, and we appreciate all the great work you're doing. As you can see behind me, the sun is setting low over Lake Eola. So we say goodnight to Lake Eola. We say goodnight to you guys. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you around Jewish Orlando.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Be a part of the movement.